Live from the Broadcast Center in Los Angeles, this is KCAL9 News at 4.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Elsa Ramon in for Lena Wynn.
And I'm Juan Fernandez. Our top story here on KCAL9 News at 4 is breaking news. The search for a missing model might have taken a grim turn. The 25-year-old vanished last month from Hollywood. KCAL9's Adriana Weingold is live in downtown LA, where police just released new details in their investigation. Adriana?
Well, Daya Shibani has been missing for 32 days, and today LAPD say they made a gruesome discovery. The remains of a woman were found in a shallow grave in Northern California, and they believe that body is Daya Shibani. After weeks of searching, combing the neighborhood and posting flyers around Hollywood, LAPD says human remains believed to be Daya Shibani, an aspiring actress and model missing since late February, have been found.
At this point in time, we believe that those remains are the body of Miss Daya Shibani. We cannot say that conclusively at this point in time because the conditions of the remains prohibited positive identification.
The remains of a woman were found in a shallow grave in Northern California. An autopsy is planned for Wednesday to officially identify the body. Last Thursday night, a North Hollywood man, Christopher Spots, believed to be Shibani's boyfriend, shot himself during a police chase from Hesperia to Corona.
We also believe that Mr. Spots, Christopher Spots, was somehow involved in her death, and we believe this to be a homicide.
Shibani moved to Los Angeles from Macedonia 2 years ago to chase her dream of stardom. She and Spots attended Stella Adler Acting Academy together. Students there were upset, hoping investigators would find her alive.
It was very sad and, shocking news.
Shibani was last seen near her apartment on Wilcox in Hollywood. Friends and family left the apartment in tears this morning. Neighbors say they're heartbroken.
I couldn't believe that someone who comes here to, someone just like me, you can identify with this person so much. Someone who came here to chase her dream all the way from Europe alone, like suddenly goes missing in the middle of the day. That's crazy.
Investigators have not released a cause of death. They say they will have a better idea of what happened to Shibani and a 100% identification on that body tomorrow after the autopsy. Back to you.
A sad end to that
sure
story.
is.
All right, Adriana, thank you. The controversial plan to move the homeless to 10 cities in Orange County has been scrapped.
KCAL9 Michelle Geely is live in Santa Ana with more on the decision. Michelle?
That is right. It's back to square one as far as where this homeless population will go. The County Board of Supervisors just a couple of hours ago voted amid a lot of protests to rescind its earlier decision to put up tent cities in Huntington Beach, Laguna Niguel, and Irvine. They came by the busload.
Gonna win.
A few thousand people from Irvine and other cities who protested a plan by the Orange County Board of Supervisors to put up tent cities in 3 communities to temporarily house the homeless.
It's call to action of the Board of Supervisors. They're claiming that this was something that Judge Carter ordered a response to within a couple of hours. And in fact, this is a problem that's been festering in this community, growing exponentially over the last decade.
By far the biggest showing came from Irvine. Last week, when Supervisor Lisa Bartlett suggested that all 400 homeless people displaced from the River Trail move to a county-owned lot at the Great Park across from soccer fields and neighborhoods, people in town were furious.
My friends and I play soccer and football at the Great Park fields every week. It will be scary for kids to hang so close to hundreds of tents.
This tent cities does not provide any healthy conditions to the people living in there, but also it erodes internally and externally to its communities.
It's bad to have standards? Are you kidding me?
That we can't figure out a solution for where to put people that are actively on the streets, and because we're dealing with them right here, brother.
Those who work with the homeless and others who advocate for them came to the PAC supervisors meeting too.
It's up to all of us, every city, to be a part of the solution and not just be riled up when shelters, are wanting to be built, based on state mandated legislation that makes it so that there are lands for homeless shelters to be able to take care of this growing crisis.
And the population that we're talking about here are the people who were moved from the Santa Ana River Trail and put into motels, given vouchers for that. That was a temporary solution. Now they need to find a more permanent one. So a week from today, federal court judge David Carter will again meet with the county and representatives from many different agencies in different cities to try and figure out where, in fact, these people will go. Live in Santa Ana, back to you.
Developing news in the fight over California's fight over sanctuary for undocumented immigrants. The Orange County Board of Supervisors just voted to join U.S. Attorney Jeff Sessions' lawsuit against the state. The California Values Act prohibits local law enforcement from asking about a person's immigration status. It also bars them from holding undocumented immigrants in jails until federal authorities can pick them up. Orange County's move comes after the Los Alamitos City Council voted to exempt the city from that law.
A community comes together to help LAPD track down 2 gang members detectives say shot and killed a homeless man. The murder occurred on January 21st along an encampment in the Arroyo Seco flood channel in Highland Park. Officers found Douglas Carrito shot and his friend Daniel Duarte dead. Tips from the public led detectives to 2 suspects, 19-year-old Andrew Palacios and 31-year-old Jimmy Perez. Duarte's family praised the police for their hard work.
I'm really grateful that whoever's responsible is behind bars, just so my daughter, myself, his family members can have justice. I want my daughter to believe in the justice system.
Palacios and Perez are charged with murder and attempted murder. Well, the city of Compton lost 31 firearms from its vault. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives has put out an alert to help find whoever stole them from City Hall. Agents believe 23 .40 caliber Beretta pistols and 8 Glocks were swiped somewhere between March 6th and August 31st of last year. There's a $10,000 reward for any information that leads to an arrest.
More than 30 people have applied to be LA's next police chief, but that doesn't include the current assistant chief. Beatrice Grimala is reportedly passing on that job. The search for Chief Charlie Beck's replacement started in January when he suddenly announced he's retiring this summer. The LA Police Commission says it's received 31 applications for his job. Commission President Steve Soboroff says they're all highly qualified. Mayor Garcetti will make the final decision after the list is cut down to the top 3 in June. Some of the candidates confirmed by the LA Times include Assistant Chief Michael Moore, who was a finalist back in 2009, also Sandy Jo MacArthur, a former Assistant Chief, and Deputy Chiefs Robert Arcos and Phil Tingires.
California's Attorney General is now taking up the case of Stephon Clark, a black man who was gunned down by Sacramento police officers this month. The 22-year-old was shot nearly 24 times in his grandmother's backyard. Officers claimed he had a gun. It turned out to be a cell phone. After the shooting, the officers muted their body cameras, silencing their conversations. State Attorney General Javier Becerra says that's one of the reasons why his team is getting involved.
The California Department of Justice's involvement in this matter will extend to include a review of the policing policies, procedures, and practices at the Sacramento Police Department.
We want to be a leader not only in our state, but our nation in regards to what partnerships with our community look like and what transparency looks like.
Clark's family has hired its own medical examiner to do an independent autopsy. Their attorney says they do not trust the results of the county review done last week. 2 white officers will not face criminal charges in the shooting death of a black man. Baton Rouge police shot and killed Alton Sterling in July of 2016. It happened as he struggled with officers outside a convenience store. Louisiana's Attorney General said a gun was found in Sterling's pocket and that the officer's actions were justified. His death prompted massive protests.
Controversial move. The U.S. Commerce Department announced today that the 2020 census will include a citizenship question. The census is meant to count total population, not just U.S. citizens. It informs decisions on things like federal funding and congressional districts. Critics believe the question is anti-immigrant and could result in lower population counts and therefore less federal funding for states with high immigration populations. The question was last asked in the 1950 census. California and New York are now suing the administration over that move. We'll have more on that, plus reaction on our sister station on CBS 2 News at 6.
Complications for President Trump and his upcoming talks with the leader of North Korea.
Well, it looks like Kim Jong-un may be the mystery guest who showed up in China today with a huge security detail. Ben Tracy explains what a surprise visit could mean.
The arrival of this train, caught by Japanese media, was the first sign somebody important was coming to town. The green cars with yellow stripes look just like the bulletproof train Kim Jong-un's father, Kim Jong-il, used when he traveled abroad. Then video appeared on social media of a large motorcade and an honor guard apparently welcoming the mystery guest. A swarm of police kept prying eyes away. A visit by Kim Jong-un would be significant because he and Chinese President Xi Jinping have never met. China has grown impatient with Kim's relentless nuclear ambitions and enforced tough international sanctions on the regime, straining the two countries' once close relationship. But now with Kim Jong-un planning to meet South Korean President Moon Jae-in and President Trump at summits this spring, he may have decided it was wise to first pay a visit to an old ally.
Sanctions relief is something that the North Korean regime really wants.
But Paul Hanley, a former White House official on China affairs, says Xi Jinping may also be making sure he still has a seat at the diplomatic table.
China does not want to sit on the sidelines and be a spectator in terms of what's happening here.
China is still North Korea's lifeline, and if it wants to go easy on North Korean sanctions, that could make things very difficult for the U.S. and South Korea ahead of those summits this spring. Ben Tracy, Beijing.
All went according to plan, but was it a wise plan? Coming up, an owl brings wedding rings to the groom, but then it turned on the best man. You'll see what happened coming up.
Oh, no. But first, a big donation by the LA Dodgers to help rebuild Puerto Rico, which is still recovering from Hurricane Maria.
A Michigan state official who supervised Larry Nassar is arraigned on sexual misconduct charges. Amber?
And here's a live look with our Santa Monica Pier camera. Beautiful afternoon here in Southern California after the winds have relaxed, temperatures above average. But how long will it stick around? Your full forecast on the way.